It's 8:17 in the morning. You're already late. Keys in one hand, shoes half on, phone buzzing. And right there by the door, your dog is watching you. Not moving, not barking, just watching. You pause. You crouch down, soften your voice, stroke their head. "Hey, I'll be back soon. Be good, okay?" They blink slowly. Maybe lick your hand. You stand up, take one last look, and leave. Door closes. Silence. And here's the part most people never see. 5 minutes later, that same calm dog is pacing. 10 minutes later, they're whining. 15 minutes later, scratching at the door, heart racing, eyes wide, like something just went terribly wrong. But wait, isn't that confusing? Because most people believe 3 things about moments like this. That saying a sweet goodbye helps their dog feel reassured, that giving extra affection before leaving shows love, and that a quiet house helps the dog relax and sleep. But here's the truth no one tells you. The most emotionally intense moment of your dog's entire day is not when you leave. It's the way you leave. And those final few minutes, they don't calm your dog down. They can actually trigger the anxiety that follows. If that surprises you, stay with me, because what you're about to understand could completely change your dog's emotional world. And hey, before we go deeper, comment "ready" if you've ever felt that tiny guilt walking out the door.
You're definitely not the only one. Here's where it gets interesting. Dogs don't understand your words, not the way you think. They don't process "I'll be back soon" or "be good." What they do understand is energy, tone, facial tension, your breathing, your hesitation. Studies on domestic dogs suggest that dogs are highly sensitive to human emotional cues, especially vocal tone and body language. They don't need language, they read you. So when you kneel down, speak softly, linger a little longer than usual, your dog doesn't think, "Oh, my human loves me." They think, "Something is off. Why is their voice different? Why are they slower? Why does this moment feel heavy?" And that's the exact second anxiety begins to build. But wait, it goes deeper. Because over time, your dog starts forming a pattern, a very specific one. Every time you act extra loving, you disappear. Every time your tone becomes softer, you leave. Every time you linger, they're left alone. So your affection, something meant to comfort, becomes a warning signal. And here's the heartbreaking party. You trained that signal without even realizing it, not through neglect, but through love. Cognitive research in dogs indicates that they learn through association faster than we expect. Patterns repeat, and meaning builds silently. So your dog connects the dots. This version of my human means I'm about to be alone. And once that association locks in, the anxiety starts before you even touch the doorknob. That's why some dogs begin panting, pacing, or following you room to room the moment you pick up your keys. It's not random, it's anticipation. Now here's something most people completely miss. Some dogs don't bark. They don't destroy things. They don't make noise. They just lie down, quiet, still, eyes dull. And you might think, "Oh, my dog is fine, so calm." But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all pain is loud. Some dogs don't panic outwardly. They shut down inwardly. Studies on canine behavior suggest that chronic stress can sometimes lead to passive responses. What looks like calm is actually emotional withdrawal. It's not peace, it's resignation, a silent acceptance of something they don't understand but have learned they can't control. Let that sink in for a second, because here's the twist. The more emotional your goodbye, the more intense your return becomes. 2. Think about it. You leave with sadness. You come back with excitement. "Hey, I missed you." You hug them, laugh, maybe even baby talk them, and it feels beautiful. But to your dog, it creates an emotional roller coaster. Low, then high. Loss, then reward. And guess what that does? It amplifies everything in between. The next time you leave, your dog isn't just losing you. They're losing the high that comes when you return, which makes the absence feel even heavier. But there's where everything starts to change. Because fixing this isn't about loving your dog less. It's about loving them in a way they actually understand. And one of the most powerful shifts you can make feels completely wrong at first. You stop making a big deal out of leaving. No dramatic goodbyes, no emotional speeches, no lingering. Just neutral, calm, almost boring. And yes, it might feel cold, but to your dog, it's clarity. It tells them, this is normal, nothing's wrong. And over time, that calm becomes contagious. But don't just take that and run, because there's another hidden trigger almost nobody talks about, the silence. You turn everything off, TV off, lights dim, door locked. And suddenly, your dog is alone in a world that feels empty. But here's the interesting part. Dogs didn't evolve in silence. In the wild, they lived in packs. There was always movement, breathing, sound, presence. So when your home becomes completely quiet, it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels unnatural. Some studies suggest that background noise, like soft music or human voices, can help reduce stress behaviors in dogs when left alone, because it simulates life, connection, continuity. It tells your dog, the world didn't stop. You're still safe. And sometimes that's all they need. But here's something even deeper. Your dog's emotional state isn't reset every day. It builds, quietly, like water filling a glass. One stressful goodbye, another anxious afternoon, another confusing departure, day after day after day, until one moment, they snap. They chew the couch, scratch the door, have an accident, or completely shut down. And you think, what happened today? But the truth? It wasn't today. It was everything before it. And here's where it gets uncomfortable again, because sometimes the last thing your dog feels before you leave isn't love. It's tension. You're rushing. You're stressed. Maybe you get irritated. Stop following me. Move. And then you walk out. Door closes. From your perspective, it's nothing. Just a stressful morning. But from your dog's perspective, that was the final moment. Dogs don't think in timelines. They don't separate now from later. So if the last thing they feel from you is frustration, that feeling stretches across the entire time you're gone. Studies on dog cognition suggest that dogs live heavily in the present emotional state, meaning the last interaction before. Separation carries significant weight. So they spend hours, not just alone, but confused. Did I do something wrong? And that question? They don't know how to answer. But wait, here's the shift. Because everything we've talked about so far might sound heavy, but the solution is surprisingly simple. You don't need to be a trainer. You don't need special tools. You just need to change the pattern. Instead of emotional goodbyes, create a neutral routine. Consistent, predictable, boring in the best way possible. And here's a powerful trick. Introduce something your dog only gets when you leave. A special treat, a stuffed toy, something engaging, something rewarding. Over time, your dog's brain rewires the association. You leaving means something good happens. That's not just training. That's emotional transformation. Some animal behavior research suggests that positive reinforcement during separation can reduce anxiety by replacing fear-based associations with reward-based ones. And suddenly, your departure isn't the worst part of their day. It's the start of something they look forward to. Now think about that for a second. You didn't change who you are. You didn't love them less. You just adjusted how that love shows up. And in doing that, you changed their entire emotional experience. But here's the paradox that most people struggle with. The less emotional you act when leaving, the more secure your dog actually feels, and the more stable your dog becomes. The deeper their trust in you grows. It's backwards, but it works. Because real comfort to a dog isn't in words. It's in consistency. It's in calm energy. It's in knowing that nothing dramatic is about to happen. And maybe the most powerful realization in all of this is this. Your dog isn't asking you to stay forever. They're not expecting perfection. They're not keeping score. They're just trying to understand the world through the signals you give them. And right now, you have more control over those signals than you think. Every morning, every goodbye, every return, you're shaping how they feel, not just in that moment, but in every moment that follows. So next time you reach for your key spas, not to say goodbye, but to ask yourself one simple question. What emotion am I leaving behind? Because that emotion, it stays long after you're gone. If this made you see things a little differently, comment, I get it. And tell me, what does your dog usually do when you leave the house? I read every single one. And if you want to understand your dog on a deeper level, what they feel, what they need, what they wish you knew, stick around. Because once you start seeing the world through their eyes, you'll never look at them the same way again. And honestly, that might be the greatest gift you can give them.